angels waging war in the unseen realm. Global events fulfilling biblical prophecy. Eternal life. What lies beyond mortality? From analyzing the paranormal from a biblical worldview to the discussion of cutting-edge science and technology. Conspiracy, discovery, special investigative reports. Unafraid to explore the challenging issues facing humanity. Welcome to another edition of Skywatch TV. Special Investigative Report.
Fictional accounts of Vatican cover-ups make for compelling stories, but the truth is actually much more surprising and disturbing. Welcome to Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert. Joining us in studio, a special guest, along with Skywatch TV CEO Tom Horn, a special guest and the producer of a brand new documentary film that is going to raise some eyebrows. True Legends, The Unholy Sea. We welcome Steve Quayle back to Skywatch TV. Steve?
Hey, Derek, nice to be with you. And Mr. Horn?
No, good.
Yeah, this is my delight.
Yeah.
You tackle all the big topics. You got Hitler and the Nazis in your most recent book, and now in the True Legends documentary series, you tackle the Vatican. First off, the Holy See, that's a phrase that the media uses a lot when referring to the Vatican. What does it mean?
Well, basically, the Holy See is a term that the media uses for the government of the Roman Catholic Church. And what's fascinating, because it is the seat of world power, we took the unholy see because for so many decades, actually so many centuries, pretty much all the truth of antiquity, ancient civilizations, anything that didn't fit the official Catholic biblical narrative has been I guess you'd say sanctioned and hidden and taken under their control. The unholy see, obviously, Derek, is saying that though they claim they're holy, and holiness is a word that can only be applied to the living God. It does not exist in the realm of man without God putting his holiness, imparting it into our lives. So having said that over the years, there's so much information, data, and especially as we're talking about True Legends, a series, we started in South America because the great empires, the golden empires of the Aztecs in Mexico, obviously the Mayans in Central America, and the Inca Empire, they all had one thing in common: a lot of gold, a lot of antiquity, and a lot of cover-up. When I sent Tim and the film crew, the cinematographers, the sound guys down there, it was with the understanding that Peru seems to be the central hub of the great underground Cyclopean Empire. When we talk about a Cyclopean Empire, we're talking about time before the flood. We even believe it goes back prior to the flood of Noah into Jeremiah's flood, Jeremiah chapter 4. So Tom Horn and I have spent, 15, 17 years on talk radio trying to bring the foundational understanding of what's going on. Now, why would anybody want to suppress the true origins of history?
Right.
And you and I just talked about that in the last, actually yesterday. But the point being is that people have got to understand that the promise of the Bible is that which has been hidden is going to be made known. And I see it as, if you will, the powers of darkness literally hanging out in shadows. Now, as everyone's noticing, they're coming out into the light. We're hearing all of the paranormal, preternatural, supernatural. We're hearing all the transhumanists bragging about the end of mankind. We're hearing them talking about spiritual machines. I maintain, Tom Horn does too, is that we are dealing with ancient fallen angel, not only technology, but belief systems, and control the world. Interestingly enough, I guess I got up earlier than I thought I got up in Missouri today. Thank you to Mr. Haven for reminding me I was an hour behind. I thought I was up at 4:30. He said, no, Steve, you were up at 3:30, So, but the very first text message, email that I got is, Edward Snowden declares that the government of the United States is run by aliens under the earth. And that was the most fascinating thing, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's easy reading. That's what you want to wake up to. But the point is that what the True Legends series is documenting all of the finds of antiquity that have been hidden, and basically saying, don't settle for the history that the Vatican, the U.S. government, modern, quote, science, parentheses, question mark, question mark, question mark, have tried to stick down our throats.
You talk about Cyclopean, underground Cyclopean empire. Cyclopean, of course, refers to the Cyclops of ancient Greek myth.
Mythology.
What are you talking about here? Underground Cyclopean
now I've got everyone's
empire.
attention.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? There's a reason why the all-seeing eye is on the dollar bill. There's a reason why Hollywood is signaling with their triangular shape, hand motions. I won't even do it. That's how anti-Hollywood I am. The bottom line is that we're in a time now where the all-seeing eye, it's obviously the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, and getting back to the Vatican just real quickly, the Unholy See has controlled through probably one of the most sophisticated intelligence networks in the history of the world. Actually, the first I can find in history in the Old Testament is Joshua sending in the spies into the Promised Land. But Cardinal Richelieu was very specific about when any church, when any, whether it was the explorers went any place under the banner of the Church of Rome, everything had to be fed back to the Holy See. And what we have come to understand in a very sad way is there are a lot of people that don't want this stuff out. And so, when you're talking about Exo Vaticana, when you're talking about True Legends, a series. Now, what's important about True Legends is Cusco, Peru has one of the most interesting Catholic, actually, churches in the world. It's called the Coricancha. That's my attempt at sounding like I know how to speak Spanish. I'm learning. But the point that has come to our attention is that every place there was a Catholic church or any type of major religious structure, you find the legends. Those things are built over the entrances to a huge, vast underground tunnel system that the architecture underground in that tunnel system matches the megalithic stones of Sacsayhuaman, Ollantaytambo, Bulgaria. I mean, there is no place on earth. This is really cool. It's my contention that, having read the Book of Enoch and some of the extra biblical writings, that the giants, the offspring of the Nephilim, fallen angels, producing the Rephaim, the giants, that they fled both into the most remote parts of the earth, but under the ground, and they were warned. And obviously, when you have the premise that fallen angels possess a level of intelligence and beyond anything that mankind can try and match them with on this planet, that they had building capabilities and skills far beyond everyone else. And so when we talk about Cyclopean architecture, some of the Cyclops in history, the skeletal remains went 400 feet high. One of the most famous finds in ancient architecture was a fact of a giant Cyclops with his sitting down, like almost frozen in time and space, with his elbow on the top of a ship's mast, So it's astonishing to me that now, with the finds in South America from Peru, Tim and the film crew obviously went to Bolivia, they went to Sardinia, they went to Malta. They met with some really nasty people who I believe were obviously upset that Timothy Alberino and the film crew are at the Jesuit headquarters getting dirty looks and talking to one of the most interesting men, actually two of them. One of them, Leo Zagami, who he claims he's a insider, Vatican occultist, Luciferian. He's changed his tune a little bit on that. But the point being is that he was able to arrange a personal entrance into Jesuit headquarters. Now, why that's important is because with what Tom has written, and we basically are parallel investigating, it absolutely builds to the fact that the reason this stuff is important is because of the alien presence. And, in my world, I talk about the aliens as the fallen angels, and I talk about their genetic manipulations as different species. You can call them extra dimensionals. I coined a term, trans-dimensional demonic entities. Now that's hard to say with 3 hours of sleep. But the point being is that every single archaeological find is building towards the revelation of the alien savior.
Well, and if I can just jump in here for a moment, Steve, I had the pleasure of getting to review some of the material that the world hasn't yet seen. And I really think, by the way, this whole series that you started, the True Legend series, is really important, but I think you guys really upped the game in this second movie. There's some extraordinary stuff, part of which was Tim being able to meet with the right people who could actually get him behind the Holy See. I mean, we learned how to build the CIA, basically following the pattern that had been established by the Vatican. And he got behind those doors in there where the Jesuit headquarters is, but then it's where he goes from there. And I'm not going to give up too many secrets here, but the gate that he was shown, I got to tell you, that made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. I mean, what in the world is the Vatican doing hiding what appears to be one of these archways? Like, what are they working toward? And I'm going to let you answer, but your research confirmed everything that Chris Putnam and I had found when we were doing Ex Vaticana and then Path of the Immortals, that anywhere we went, where even the New Agers are claiming that there are doorways, mystical doorways through which entities are moving back, you would find the Vatican's presence there. They'd have the established control over that area. Mount Graham, Sedona, Arizona, where the Catholic monastery is sticking right out of the side of the mountain. So they definitely do have a keen interest in locations that have been identified historically as some kind of metaphysical opening.
What we found, absolutely, what we found is the metaphysical openings around the world are tied into the intersections of the ley lines, the geomagnetic, if you will, intersection of the Earth's magnetic field basically reacting with the telluric current of the Earth. And all sacred places, this is mind-blowing. I hope people understand this. There is no earthly wisdom that can account for the placement of the temples, the tunnel systems. Now I'm talking, when we talk about Cyclopean, people have got to understand, we're not talking through a spelunker's crawling through a little cave on the side of a Missouri mountain, or something. We're talking about vast networks of underground tunnels. Most people don't understand that the DUMBs, deep underground military bases, not the people who supposedly represent us, the deep underground military bases, many of them, Derek, were built on this ancient tunnel system. As a matter of fact, the Apaches were able to avoid the U.S. military when they were being chased by going into these underground tunnel systems. And, it's amazing. I always hear this nonsense, Well, the Anasazi, the Ancient Ones, or as Tom can explain the other names, that was a Dr.
Don Mose?
Dr. Don Mose.
Okay. The Anasazi, the Ancient Ones, what were two of the other titles from? This is critical.
Well, I can't actually enunciate it. We have him on camera talking to us in the ancient Dene language, and we had a point of kind of some confusion about what does Anasazi mean, because some Navajo websites say it means the ancient alien enemy. Other ones say it means the Ancient Ones, right? And then there was a third one, I forget what it even was, and what Dr. Mose clarified for us, he said, no, it depends on how you enunciate it. So if you use the nouns and syllables different in the way that you express it in the Dene language, it can mean the Ancient Ones or it can mean an alien enemy.
Well, the reason I asked you to bring that out is because the denial, even in the desert Southwest, of the Native Americans, the Native American legends, the Native American myths, oral traditions, I mean, you can't cover any of them without the presence of giants, stargates, the glyphs on the side of mountains, cliffs, even on the ground, the spiral, the infamous Norway spiral, all of the, if you will, the geoglyphs, all the written records, and the stones. I believe the stones are crying out. I believe that obviously beyond just the alien caricatures or the lizard people or whatever, there's even a bigger story to tell. So,
and Steve, not to interrupt you.
No, please interrupt me.
One thing we should clarify, though, for our listening audience is that we believe that there is biblical evidence that support what these indigenous peoples and others have reported around the world, even the fact that the earth is dynamic, that there are things that exist beneath the earth. Jesus doesn't bat an eye when he says to his disciples, there was a rich man and a man named Lazarus, and they go down into the belly of the earth. He tells his disciples he's going to go there, like Jonah did. So what you have is a corroboration around the world of different people from different worldviews, but who all told exactly the same story about the gates of the earth that opened, the giants that arrived, that God sent a great flood. So we Christians find that story that's in the Old Testament is supported around the world.
We just need to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we want to talk about why the Vatican is paying such attention to these underground tunnels and this network that stretches around the planet. Are they strategically positioning themselves to defend the earth, or is there something else at work here? Our conversation with Steve Quayle about True Legends, the Unholy See continues next on Skywatch TV.
In 2012, they shocked the international community when they predicted the resignation of Pope Benedict 1 year in advance.
Breaking news, Pope Benedict XVI announces his resignation.
Yeah, it is the first time in centuries a pope has stepped down.
And I knew Pope Benedict was going to step down April 2012.
Leaving the world wondering just who their insider at the Vatican really was. In 2013, they exposed the mysteries of Mount Graham, the Lucifer device,
This first station is an instrument called Lucifer.
and the Vatican's secret plan for the arrival of an alien savior. Then in 2015, they took the world underground to uncover the truth behind the Native American legends of giants, the portals they once came through, and the most overlooked aspect of end times prophecy regarding their return. Now, in their final entry to the explosive 4-year investigation, internationally acclaimed best-selling authors Thomas Horn and Chris Putnam unveil their greatest discovery and make their most astonishing prediction yet, involving the imminent prophesied arrival of a mysterious final Roman emperor.
At that time, the prince of injustice, who will be called the Antichrist, will rise. He will be the son of perdition and the culmination of pride. He will deceive many, but when the Roman Empire will fall, then the Antichrist will show himself, and he will sit in the house of God in Jerusalem. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that brought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
Thomas Horn, Chris Putnam. This will be the final entry and the greatest prediction yet, coming May 2016. The final Roman emperor, the Islamic Antichrist, and the Vatican's last crusade.
I want to remind you that Skywatch TV has exclusive online content, interviews, and discussions that we just can't fit into our weekly broadcast schedule. Make sure you log on to skywatchtv.com to find those. We're continuing our conversation with Steve Quayle, Tom Horn, about the True Legends documentary series, entry number 2, The Unholy See. We're talking about the underground network of tunnels, what you call the Cyclopean architecture, underground Cyclopean empire. What is the interest of the Roman Catholic Church here? Are they just trying to block the entrances to prevent these things from coming through, or is there something else at work here?
Well, there's something, and that's a very astute question, really an important question. The great Mesoamerican empires, and by the way, they all identified that they were founded by giants coming from the east, white giants. Now that's critical for a couple reasons. There were no metal tools. There was no technology that either the Aztecs, the Mayans, or the Incans possessed that could account for the structures. These structures couldn't even be moved, the stone structures.
We're talking places like Pumapunku.
Ollantaytambo. If you go to Bulgaria, Romania. Interestingly enough, we'll find it out and we'll give it, as a title, but the Romanian, if you will, in Romania, and this will be, we're headed that way, so I'm kind of giving another one of those things. By the way, my wife said, you don't keep secrets very well. I want to give everybody the bottom line. I got this guy here, the bottom line, and work backwards. But the point is that one of the biggest buildings in the world is like the Romanian Parliament, and I can't speak Romanian, but it's a huge building. The tunnel system that sits over, okay, was absolutely, how do I say this, sanctioned by the government, that even the United States government was paying them off not to tell the world, even under Ceausescu, what was underneath those tunnels in Bulgaria. And as big as the megaliths are, the giant stone structures, we interviewed Anson P. Rambla, one of the most famous South American lettered archaeologists, who had the permission of the Peruvian government, had the permission of the Catholic Church to go into the Chincana. That's what the Spanish word, or not Spanish, actually, it's a derivation, into the tunnel system. And with Anselm talking to Tim, and it's in Spanish, but to warn everybody, all of our Spanish, some of these people don't speak English. Some of the Maltese, the people on Malta speak English, but Sardinia, they speak a different form of Italian than you would see in Rome. But what all these things have together is, why would you go to Peru? Then would you go to Bolivia? Then would you go to Sardinia? Then would you go to Malta, back to Rome, back to Sardinia? What is the central theme? And it's a cover-up of giants. Derek, we interviewed people in their 80s and 90s, and it didn't matter if they were in Malta, didn't matter if they were on Titicaca, didn't matter if it was in Sardinia, didn't matter anybody associated with ancient architecture from, let's say, 70 years ago. They all would, tell the same story of digging up the bones of giants, and some of them are big. What we found is basically, prior to the flood of Noah, up to 36 feet tall and higher, the average length of giants. When you go after the flood of Noah, you get into King Og, and you get into David slaying Goliath and Goliath's brothers. And David was kind of a very neat guy. First guy I'm going to go up and shake his hand in glory, because he wasn't only ready to take down Goliath, okay? He was ready to take down Goliath's brothers.
That's why he brought the 5 stones.
You got it. And people say, why 5 smooth stones? Better trajectory, And the thing is that what a man of God after his here's a guy, he's a kid, he can't wear the armor. Now, why is this significant? Because I think this is the time of David's sling. I believe this is Project David Sling. I just made that up on the spot, but it sounds good. We'll use it.
Yeah,
okay?
we'll use it.
So Project David Sling. And, there are people that will argue over even Pember's book that Tom, republished. And one of the, I think this is the most, ladies and gentlemen, that book, the John Pember collection, available from Skywatch, is, in my opinion, the single most important thing for Christians to read to get a handle on the foundation of what we're talking about. I mean, I'm serious, It's that important. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, well, actually, you were the one that inspired me to do that. Years ago, we're doing one of the radio shows that Quayle and I have done for so many years, and we both brought up the fact that probably one of the greatest masterpieces ever written, and it had been out of print for the longest time. In fact, you paid an enormous amount of money to buy an old used copy of one, right? So we put it back into print, Earth's Earliest Stages,
right.
And then later we published the bigger volume, which is the G.H. Pember
And it's
collection.
remarkable that a man 150 years ago, he was the late 19th century, was writing about the things that we're talking about here today,
right.
And we're supposed to be cutting edge.
And the resurrection of the ancient gods is a central theme coming through all of our studies. In other words, they're coming back.
Right.
And Jesus said men's hearts would fail them for fear of looking after those things coming up on the earth. Everybody says there's war in heaven. They quote the scripture in the book of Revelation. But this underground subterranean world that exists right now, and again, I don't believe there are coincidences. I believe God what intersperses the truth at the moment that he wants to reveal it. In True Legends, the series, the second DVD, this will be a CD. We have the
2-disc set.
2-disc set. Thank you. I got to slow down. Slow down. This is a 2-disc set. But the point is that we have the only known on-record interview with the pilot that flew the Dead Giant in 2005 out of Bagram Air Force Base that had killed an entire special operations team, and then they had to bring in what's called the ultra black guys to take out the Giant. Well, let me fast forward now. Now this is okay.
We just have about a minute left. So.
Okay, I'll give it in a minute, and we can pick it up. Tom, the pilot 10 years later is sitting in a bar in New Mexico, and he named the bar. It's not important. And a Native American medicine man comes up to him and says, "May I sing for you?" And he starts singing, and he's doing I won't even try and do Navajo, and basically said, "You have seen giants. The earth swallowed them up. The earth is now getting ready to divulge them."
True Legends, The Unholy Sea. This is a 2-disc set, the second entry in the True Legends documentary series from Steve Quayle and Timothy Alberino, Gen6 Productions. We want to make this available to you. The list price on this is $34.95, but when you purchase that, the groundbreaking book by Tom Horn and Chris Putnam, Exo Vaticana, which covers much of the same ground. They dovetail and reinforce one another. You find both of those, $34.95, True Legends, The Unholy Sea, and Exo Vaticana at the Skywatch TV store, online at skywatchtvstore.com. Tom Horn, Steve Quayle, we'll continue this discussion.
Thank you, Derek.
We thank you for watching.
Mr. Horn.
As we keep watch, I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is Skywatch TV. Save nearly half off the cover price when you subscribe now to the brand new Skywatch TV magazine. For a limited time from April 24th through June 24th, 60 days only, a 5-year subscription to Skywatch TV magazine is just $99. That's more than $75 off the cover price, which is like getting 2 years for free. Exclusive content, articles on prophecy, discovery, and the supernatural from Tom Horn, Chris Putnam, Josh Peck, science updates from Sharon K. Gilbert, geopolitics from yours truly, and guest writers like Pulitzer Prize-nominated journalist Troy Anderson, renowned Bible scholar Dr. Michael Heiser, Pentagon advisor Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis, and more. But there is more. As an early subscriber, you'll be the first to get this new book from Defender Publishing. I predict what 12 global experts believe you'll see by 2025. This is a $20 value and includes best-selling authors like Joel Richardson, Mark Biltz, Carl Gallups, Tom Horn, Paul McGuire, and more. Find out what they think about the coming war between ISIS and the Vatican, the future of the Temple Mount and the Ark of the Covenant, a worldwide manifestation of angels, and the coming age of human hybrids. And we'll also add this DVD, The Best of Skywatch TV 2015, a $25 value, including our most compelling interviews from last year, including Chuck Missler, Steve Quayle, the discussion of the Georgia Guidestones with Chris Pinto, and more. All of this together worth more than $200, yours now for just $99, but only through June 24th. Subscribe now, Skywatch TV magazine. Just call the number on your screen or log on to skywatchtvstore.com.